Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. This is round two, trying to test Google Hangouts. We got absolutely no sound, and I could not see the chat last time we were on the air. So let me figure this out here for a few minutes. Join us. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can actually hear the sound of my voice and it's just not static, which is pretty annoying. Google, you just ruined 15 minutes of my life. Incredible. Let's take a look here to see what's going on. Give me just a minute to figure this out. Okay, all right. Looks like I can actually see. Okay, so everybody can hear me now. Let me see a couple more chats. I see Random Poke Center, Dark Ecstasy World. I hear you. So sounds good. So that is completely, ridiculously, intensely, amazingly strange. Because the only thing I changed is I switched out the cord to a different USB port. That's it. I don't know. You ruined 15 minutes of my life, Google. 15 minutes that I can never get back. You destroyed it. Now I have to do these stories again. It's great to have all of you with us. We're learning the new technology that is Google Hangouts, live streaming. And I'm going to try to tweak this to make it the best broadcast we possibly can. So I know you can hear me now, but how is the actual sound quality? Because when we did this yesterday, it seemed like we had a little bit of an echo. And I don't know, it just seemed like the voice could be richer. So any comments you want to put in here as you're joining us, let me know. Okay, and I see I can update automatically. Okay, I see loud and clear, good to go. Is the chat up? Dude! Is that a bag of delicious marijuana on your wall? It appears so. In fact, I have a huge collage. Probably kind of tough to see with the camera here, but it literally goes from the bottom of the floor all the way up to the top of the ceiling. You can only really see the midsection of it. I didn't really take that into account when I was building it, so it was kind of like an art project, but I don't know. It's pretty cool to look at. Sometimes I'll just find myself gazing off. I've got a quote here from Abraham Lincoln says, "Let us discard all this quibbling and unite as one people throughout this land until we shall once more stand up, declaring that all men are created equal." And I know Obama loves to, equate himself with Abraham Lincoln because, we are very much at civil war today in America. The tensions in, the North and South, but this time the new North-South. It's almost like the technology world versus the old world. Obama wants to hold everything together. He wants to, rape and pillage the U.S. Constitution, destroy the Second Amendment, get rid of guns, your ability to defend yourself, while at the same time arming Department of Homeland Security, the DHS, and destroying American liberty all around the world. That's what we're dealing with today. I see Chewy Candy 666, great, Random Poke Center, it's good. Well, it's a learning experience, LOL. Yes, it is a learning experience. And I've tried multiple streams. We've tried live stream a little bit, we've tried Ustream a little bit, and now we're giving Google Hangouts a shot. The idea is to get our guests on the Google Hangout program where I can start patching them in to the show, and we can begin integrating our live broadcast with the audio segment. Of course, I've been doing radio show syndicating across our network as well as our syndication affiliate network, AmericanFreedomRadio.com, FM stations around the country, around the world. We've been doing that, but it's my goal is to integrate the video with the actual audio streams because, hey, video is more interesting, and that way you can see our faces and we can interact with you. I think it'd be really cool to get our guests on as well, where you can ask questions and we could have segments where we discuss what's going on in the world today. So if you missed it, the first broadcast, our first Google Hangout, totally didn't work out. This is round 2. We've got tons of stories in the news. In fact, there's a picture on the Drudge Report. It's got President Barack Obama with a little glass of champagne, just as he's kind of domineering to the camera, as he destroys America's liberty. He talks about all the time how he's not a king. He'll say it specifically. I'm not a king. I'm not this. I'm not a dictator. When somebody tells you that they are. We've had some amazing side stories / tragedies in the news. In fact, I talked about there was a weather balloon that in Egypt that was launched, killed over a dozen people. Seconds from disaster, moment tourists took the sky in Egypt, hot air balloon before explosion sent them plunging to earth, killing 19. You can see here there's pictures of the tragedy. So we have that. That's really strange. Then we have a shark attack outside of Auckland, New Zealand, on a New Zealand beach. Some guy gets dismembered tragically by a 14-foot great white shark. The cops have to go out in boats and basically tort the thing down. Just absolutely insane. I wanted to thank everybody for making our recent film, The Executive, such a popular video. We've reached over 100,000 views in just the few short weeks that we've put it out. It's been a smashing success. It's waking people up. It's getting the word out. And we've almost kind of had this slow trickle effect with it because it's been a non-traditional piece. It's an hour long. You actually have to take the time to sit down and watch the thing. It's not a 5-minute slam, bam, thank you, ma'am video. But we put a ton of work into it. And I really want to thank you and appreciate you getting it out there and sharing it through your social networks, online and in real life with your friends and family. Please continue to get the word out that this president wants your guns. This president wants your liberty. And he's destroying the country, and it has always been the agenda from day one. Since he took office, it has always been the agenda. And I can't stress that enough. And so these are just amazing times in America, and we're seeing a secession movement grow, not just in the historical framework, not just in what you get, imagery of North, South, and, the Civil War, or even think of, the Revolutionary First American War, liberation from, Great Britain. We get all the imagery of the redcoats and what that was supposed to look like. So much has changed now. Technology and this innovation has rapidly transformed not just our economy, but the way that we live, the way that we act, and the things that we want. I've been talking a lot about over the past few days just about the fact that there's so many chemicals inundating our bodies, and that everything around us is toxic, whether or not it's the air quality, or it's our food, or it's the water that we're drinking out of taps if we're not purifying it. It's all these things that are poisonous to our minds, the mainstream media, this consumerism culture, none of it which is good for us. And we need to start focusing on what is good for us. And we need to put that into action in our real lives. So a lot in the news today, and I wanted to touch on this. I touched on this earlier with the first broadcast that went pretty much dead on us. ABC defends editing Michelle Obama's automatic weapon claim. ABC is defending its decision to edit out an apparently erroneous claim by Michelle Obama in its broadcast of the First Lady's interview on Good Morning America today, saying it made the changes solely for the sake of time. As the Washington Examiner reported this morning, the First Lady claimed during an interview with Good Morning America's Robin Roberts that 15-year-old Hadaya Pendleton, who was killed in Chicago shortly after performing during the president's inauguration, was shot because, quote, some kids had some automatic weapons they didn't need. That's a direct quote from Michelle Obama via this interview, Good Morning America. Some kids had some automatic weapons that they didn't need. So they cut that out. They totally scrapped that. They obviously don't want that soundbite out to the American public because, again, this is about confiscation. Michelle wants your guns. That's why she showed up at the Oscars to present. That's why, in a lot of respect, we can argue a lot of propaganda around the Oscar-winning film Argo, our perceptions of Iran, our perception of Iran being an evil, terrorist nation out to kill and destroy humanity. You know, just like President George W. Bush sold us on the idea of weapons of mass destruction. You know, planes came in by terrorists, you know, supposedly, and, you know, it was a Saudi Arabian terrorist, but we decided to go into Iraq anyhow and kill a bunch of people. You know how he sold us on that? Same thing. Same thing. And we reported on this 3-4 years ago. Some of our major breaking reports, mini docs that I put out 3-4 years ago, some of our most successful, are targeted on Iran. Watch Obama, watch this pawn, is what I said in all these videos, start World War III with Iran. Watch this set into motion and follow the money, follow the finances, follow the debt. And it's exactly what we have today. You follow the debt collapse, you follow the sovereign default, you follow the collapse of Europe, the trickle effect of the collapse in the United States, which is far worse than Greece, far worse than the pig nations, far worse than that. And you see why, how they're manipulating and fabricating global war and the money motive behind it. You see, when you run out of money, when you're broke, like the United States, when you're running a criminal network of bankers and too big to fail banking institutions, the ones that raped you and your family in 2008 and continue to bend you over and pound you, you know those guys? You know, the Jamie Dimons of the world, the Ken Lewis, the John Thanes, the guy that had a golden toilet worth $100,000 in his Manhattan apartment, who had the gall after bankrupting all of his shareholders, middle-class America, and stealing trillions of dollars from the American people to then ask for taxpayer bailouts. You know, those SOBs, those pieces of you-know-what, those pricks, those guys, the ones destroying America, when they run out of money, when they finish the siphoning off of the trillions of dollars worth of coin right into their pockets, after they've done that, after they've sailed off into the sunset, and they laugh at people like Bernie Madoff while they're smoking their cigars like, hey, what an idiot. What an idiot. You know, guy's in jail. You know, what a dipshit. You know, here I am sailing on a yacht in the Mediterranean. I've got 3 women around me, and I'm, you know, playing some Pitbull music. Isn't that cool? I don't know if they really talk like that, but maybe their accents change, you know, once they sail off into the sunset. Now there's nothing left to do. U.S. debt clock, U.S. debt is out of control. 16.5 trillion, whatever it is, growing exponentially, going wild, haywire. People asking, hey, when does this thing come unhinged, is what Americans want to know. When does this thing come unhinged? When does the collapse hit? You know, when do the dollars in my pocket, in my wallet, become worthless? You know, when do I wake up and I can't buy bread, or I'm wheeling around one of those wheelbarrows, you know? When does that happen? When am I painting my walls with it? Instead of this, I'll have the toilet paper that is the U.S. dollar bill on my wall. I'll be wiping my butt with it along with you. I'll be starting a fire with it to keep my family warm, telling generations ahead of me, you know, what it was like while I'm an old man, what America used to be like before the outbreak of war. And so what we have today is a situation where the rest of the world owns the United States directly and indirectly through the sovereign debt that we've issued and printed into infinity. Countries like China. And guess what? We can't pay them back. We can't afford it. Nor can we allow interest rates to rise. So what do? What does Washington do? You know, they're twiddling their thumbs in Washington, D.C. What do? Sitting on their high horses. Can't pay these guys back. There's nothing to do. Until one of the gentlemen goes, well, what we could do is we could go and blow the crap out of them. And the other guy kind of perks everybody else's interest. Well, yeah, but why don't we think about that before, Jim? Of course we're going to go to war. Of course we're going to scapegoat the destruction of America's liberty, the dollar collapse, this economic tyranny, this physical tyranny, these Guantanamo Bays that President Barack Obama is establishing all over the country right now, known as FEMA camps. These kinds of institutions can label it anything they want. They can call you a lone wolf terrorist. They can drug you with psychotropic medications like Adam Lanza or James Holmes. They can flip the switch. They can trigger you through their CIA psyops so that you go out on killing rampages and murder a bunch of people. And then whether or not the events occurred or not, are they just completely fabricated by the mainstream media? Who really knows? But they're going to use it to their political advantage. They're going to use it as a part of their political agenda, which has always been to steal from the American people, number one, siphon off all of that wealth, collapse the American economy, take you to war as a distraction, and purge all dissent from the United States of America. I can't be any more serious, dead serious about that. Why do you think they want the guns? They think they want you armed? You think that they truly want an American resistance, an American patriot movement armed in the United States of America today? Do you really think that they want that? Come on, these are the kings and queens of modern society, baby. This is about power, absolute power, and total control over the American people. And they will purge and eradicate any kind of American dissent. The NRA put out a fantastic video, one of the few PR pieces they have done recently that actually hasn't just sucked, in my opinion. Honestly, they have done a horrible job, in my opinion. In fact, I wish I was a part of their PR program / campaign. In fact, if you're listening, you guys should hire me. I could have done a better job with how you've been managing the Sandy Hooks, etc., and your political PR response to that. I think a lot of people in our audience have been thinking the exact same thing. But they did put out a powerful video the other day that I was pretty proud of, just reinforcing in America's minds that, look, these politicians treat it like we owe them something. Like we're their pawn. We're their bitch. Like we owe them something. Like it's a gift from God, our gods, that they allow us to have weapons of self-defense, that they allow us to have the Second Amendment, that we should feel honored. We should bow down to them. We should bow. And, oh, thank you, Obama, for giving me the Second Amendment. Oh, yeah, sure. Sure, take away my AK-47. Take away that. I'll be lucky to get any kind of weapon of self-defense. That's how they treat it. I'm here to tell you that is bullshit. I'm here to tell you that is wrong. We don't owe these people anything. They owe us. The other way around. These people represent us. We hire and fire these people in America today. We own them, not the other way around. Although that's not how they treat it. That's not how they position it. That's not how they spin it. That's not how they propagandize it at all. And that's part of the problem. And there's an inherent structural disease at the heart and the very core of American politics and government today, which is exactly why we need to purge these criminals out of Washington, get rid of these bankers, axe these banks, and get these people out of power immediately. Because it is rotten to the core. It is a stage 4 cancer, of which you are the byproduct. And we see the symptoms in our economy today. We've all laid claim and been the victims of a collapsing housing market, high levels of unemployment, taxation without representation, sequestration, whatever way they want to spin it, It's like throwing a curveball. A little bit baseball. Obama gets his teleprompters in front of him and, says what he needs to say. We don't owe these people anything. They owe you. They owe me. They owe us. And I'm here to tell these politicians, you better back the F off. Because the American resistance is rising. The American liberty movement is rising. And if you don't already, you better damn well fear us. You better damn well fear the American liberty movement. A movement of peace, freedom, and justice for all. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching Green Wave TV, alternative media television. I deliver the Daily Wave, hard-hitting and in your face, as usual. I'll get this rebroadcast up. I'm getting psyched up, jacked up. I've got a rebroadcast of our live 2-hour radio show segment yesterday coming up soon. 2 news reports, 2 AMTV news reports by Topher Morrison. We're rocking hard, strong. We're excited. We are amped, and we're fighting this thing, America. And this isn't just America, this is global. Get the message out. I'm Christopher Green. Peace.